I think what people tend to forget is all these systems that we offer, all these systems that we tell people about the technology. We're not selling you technology, we're selling you time. We're giving you back time in your day to do other things. You mentioned AI earlier, is let's teach you how to walk first before we get you to run. Because once you understand how to walk, you'll totally get why you need AI built into those integrations. If you are a techie in any way, shape, or form, whether video, audio, car audio, computers, you worked at Circuit City and you could use that knowledge to help people, right? And hey, I made a buck too. You should never have to tell a client, hey, can you wait till I get back to the office to get you that information? You did all the marketing, everything you needed to do to get them to call you, and now you're telling them they have to wait. Wrong move.
Welcome back to the Hustle and Grind podcast, the show where we dig into why real entrepreneurs trade comfort for conviction. This isn't about vanity metrics or overnight success. It's about the real stories behind building a reputation that actually matters. I'm your host, Andrew, keynote architect, platform builder, and fellow founder in the trenches. Today, I'm sitting down with Carlos Banuelos, the visionary entrepreneur who believes your office should live right inside your mobile device. Carlos has made it his mission to help businesses, from lean startups to nationwide teams, turn mobile technology into a true extension of their brand. By harnessing data, analyzing consumer behavior, and making faster, smarter decisions on the go, Carlos is proving that if you're not available through a robust mobile platform, you're not really available. So, Carlos, thank you so much for being on the show today. Really appreciate it. Always appreciate nerding out with a fellow nerd. So really happy to have you on here today. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for inviting. I think this is amazing because a lot of times as solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, we tend to kind of go into our own little tunnel and we don't see the light for a while.
Yeah. And it's interesting, though, to me, how many entrepreneurs that I've come across who are not good with technology. Like, they can use their phone, they like their computers, but get them outside of that, they're not, it's something that can really be challenging for them because it's like, I want something now, and sometimes it's hard to get your head around a piece of technology you now have to learn. How have you found that in your company? Like, what have you found the general consensus being?
Since I deal with a lot of small business owners, a lot of solopreneurs and smaller companies that are less than 100 employees, and they're starting with 5 or maybe just a husband and wife team, they're great at what they do. Mm-hmm. They're amazing at selling widgets or creating widgets, whichever side of that they live on. But like you said, technology is not their thing. So the only thing they know is Google Sheets, Word documents. And that's where I think they end up stalling when they try to start scaling or growing. And so we help them with that implementation of newer systems, better systems, to really help them do what they do best. Go back to making that widget, going back to servicing those widgets, whatever it is you do. I think that's the biggest issue with most solopreneurs when they don't know tech. They just go back and fall on the really basics of technology because it's easy, right?
Yeah. Well, they do what works, and that's it.
Yeah.
Not understanding there's more out there and not having somebody to guide them through that process of, well, let's take a look at it. I mean, having a nerd in your team is good because we know how to make go high level work. We know how to make, how to integrate these things. We know, hey, I can do these 2 things to make it much more efficient. Sometimes if Google Sheets work. And as chief everything officers, we have to focus on it.
Yes.
And I think it's something we don't think about as much. So that's why I'm really happy to have you on today, is because I'd like you to, talk a little bit about that. As far as like helping clients, can you go into like a case study? You don't have to use names or anything, but go into a case study about how you've helped somebody like use technology to their greatest advantage. We'll start there.
I'll do 2 things. And again, my focus on technology is very hyper-focused on making everything mobile, right? You should never have to tell a client, hey, can you wait till I get back to the office to get you that information? Yeah. You did all the marketing, everything you needed to do to get them to call you, and now you're telling them they have to wait. Yeah. Wrong move. There's step 1. Let's fix that problem, right? So we try to make sure that they're available all the time with all the information that we need to run our business, whether it's a CRM, project management, quoting, calendaring system. And case in point, I had one client that got referred to me. Wasn't a huge client. It's a hairdresser, local hairdresser. She goes, I don't know where to start. I need to do marketing. I need to be able to run my business from my phone. We did a very basic system And Vigaro is the name. Hopefully, we can talk about them because they're amazing. But they do just smaller solopreneurs, hairstylists, massage therapists. These people don't have the budgets to be creating this big marketing. Well, guess what? Vigaro, for a monthly fee, gets you a basic site, has all your calendar setups, has all your marketing set up, your basic packages. It's really basic and simple. That was about 3 years ago. She is crushing it. She is now not able to do anything within a month. It's like, hey, if you want to get on her calendar, this is the hairstylist, but mind you, Solopreneur can barely keep up her monthly calendar. Like, if I want to get booked, she knows she has to stay open for me a little bit because, I got that pull.
You get the insight.
Other than that, she can't book you this week, not even this month sometimes, unless somebody else canceled. So little things like that of just having the knowledge of knowing what systems to use is what really helped her, because she thought she had to build a website. She had to get all this. She didn't have thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Vigaro was like $50 a month.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's something as solopreneurs we have trouble with is we know the automation's out there. We know we hear these things about, hey, AI is really great, but there's nothing quantifiable about it. We can't say, well, here's exactly how we're going to use it, or just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I think a lot of us fall into that trap where we're trying to run our business and be a marketer and be the tech integrator and have some sort of a life and have our families around, and we're trying to do so many different things that it's really hard to think about that, right?
I make a joke if I'm in person with a client in their office and they're telling me in the initial discovery, all the things that they're doing and, who handles what. And again, most of the times you'll be listening to them and they're like, yeah, I handle this, I handle that. And it's all the different facets of most larger companies. They have their CIO, CTO, name every C-suite, right? But they're doing it all. And so I'll start looking around the room. They're like, what are you looking for, Carlos? I'm looking at your hat stand. I'm looking where you store all these hats that you're supposedly wearing. Because I can't imagine you keep all of these on your head at all times. You have to switch sometimes, right? And they're like, oh, well, I do it after dinner, before I wake up. All these times that, we should be enjoying our lives. And that's why we become solopreneurs. And we can't because we're wearing all these other hats.
Yeah. Holidays are great for me. It's that thing that people call holidays. I'm not sure what they are, but I like to call them the days when nobody bugs me. Right. So I can go off and do my thing. Like Labor Day was a couple of weeks ago, and it's like that day that nobody bothers me, so I can go out and do my thing and get work done. Right? Yeah. And I think that's something that's a reality as an entrepreneur is that is who we are. We have to do everything, especially at the beginning, before we have the resources to be able to go out and hire somebody to do the things that we're not good at. And I think you touched on a really interesting point there, and a really important point, and that is that it doesn't always have to be outrageously expensive. You don't need to hire a CTO. You don't need to build something from scratch. Bluntly, I don't know if you agree with me on this or not. I don't think, unless there is a very compelling reason, you should not be building anything like custom development from scratch unless it's a core part of your business. You shouldn't have to be doing that. There's so many tools out there. So many tools.
And you're right. I do get a lot of clients, larger clients, that typically will ask for a custom CRM or a custom project management or a custom whatever, right? They think they need it. And I'm like, give me a chance. Let's really dig into this. Your industry is XYZ. Let me see if somebody else has had the same issue, which I can guarantee you without telling them, somebody has had the same issue somewhere in the world, right? Case in point, I had an architectural firm that really was just inundated, and the owner was like, I don't know what to do. I keep hiring all these new kids straight out of college. They're amazing kids. And the owners were in their 60s, if I remember right, at the time. And they just couldn't keep these new kids in the business. They said, I keep losing them after 3 months. I'm like, well, show me the process of how you do some of these project estimates and quotes. Well, we walk into a room and they've got all these legal pads from every single project they've done over the past 40 years. And I'm like, wait, so each one of those notepads is a project? He's like, yeah. Since you're getting these kids fresh out of college that have been working on an iPad the entire time to use a pad of paper?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. It's like, let's flip the script. Let's talk about giving them an environment that they're comfortable with. And I said, let's see if there's any software that can fix that issue, the disconnect between what you've been using for the past 40 years and what they just learned in college last year. It's going to be completely different. We need to find that connection. He said, well, I've looked, I can't find any software. Found a company based out of the UK that runs all of the stuff that they need to do and notate typically in a notepad, does it automatically on an iPad. Plus, if you take a picture of the site or the building, it automatically gives you measurements, guesstimates, of course, but it gives you an ability to make a quote within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
They were taking 24 hours typically to get a quote to a client.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the kind of stuff that I love to be able to help people find those little nuggets of software solutions, because as unique as we all think we are, somebody else is running into the same problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I guess part of it is everyone wants to have an app. People don't know really what that costs. The last custom development I was in charge of was $2 million and took 3 years and was basic. So we don't understand how much that's going to cost and how much trouble that is, and having a person inside. And there's just a lot more involved than I think people think there is. But
and to your point, I mean, I think what people tend to forget is all these systems that we offer, all these systems that we tell people about the technology. We're not selling you technology. We're selling you time. We're giving you back time in your day to do other things, right? I'm going to bring a blast from the past in terms of a name. One of my first jobs when I was 15 years old was a rep for Commodore computers. I'm selling computers when people are still using ledgers, right?
Yeah.
Trying to explain to them what digital automation was. I feel like it was yesterday because I'm saying exactly the same things that I did when I was 15. The only difference is now I'm using a different medium, a mobile device. And yet this mobile device has more power than that Commodore VIC-20 and the 64 that I used to sell. And I think that's where we have to start. And you mentioned AI earlier, is let's teach you how to walk first before we get you to run.
Yeah.
Right? Because once you understand how to walk, you'll totally get why you need AI built into those integrations. But until you understand how to walk first.
Yeah. And don't do it just because you think, don't do it because it's the new buzzword. That's one of my major pet peeves with AI. AI is very powerful. I use it in my company. I think it's changed the world and it's going to continue to, but don't just use it because it's a buzzword. I've seen so many different things implement AI and it's like, why? This is like getting a Ferrari and driving it to the grocery store. Don't.
Yeah.
But I've also seen companies not use it and where it was able to really help them and be able to speed up their processes and make things a lot easier. But it's a tool. I mean, if I go down, cut down twigs with a chainsaw, it's not going to go well because it's just the wrong tool for the job. So I think we need to think about that when you think about technology, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's go back to that because you mentioned that you worked for Commodore at 15. Tell us about that story. I want to hear the sequence of events that got you to where you're at right now.
Oh my gosh. So, 15-year-old, and hopefully statute of limitations is long gone. I was using my VIC-20 and Commodore 64 to hack into businesses for fun. Again, it was a different environment. I mean, you say hackers now, it's a bad connotation. You say hacker in the 80s, you knew that it was like, hey, we're just trying to see what we can do, right? We're not trying to steal your data. We're not trying to steal money. We're just, hey, can I get into the system?
Yeah.
That was the game, right? Yeah. So I said, you know what? I really need to use this knowledge to better myself. And that's when I ended up, applying for a job at Commodore. And they're like, yeah, we'd love to have you as rep. You seem to know everything about computers and you know more about these computers than some of our guys, right? And I said, yeah, I'd use them on a daily basis. And I said, well, you need to sell it to consumers and businesses. And that was when I started to realize that not everybody understands why they need a computer, right? That was the digital automation. Let's get this system going. That got the ball rolling. So I said, you know what? I really like data. I wanted to be a database scientist. I went to college to be a database scientist. Then I realized how much certifications every 6 months, every year, I would have to do for the rest of my life. Yeah. And I'm like, Let me switch gears. Business marketing and management with a computer science minor.
Wow.
Perfect, right? That really gave me the other side, again, kind of like Commodore, of why are we selling these things? What is it that we are actually selling? And like I said earlier, it's time, right? Most IT professionals don't get that. They'll give you a slew of specs for the item that they're selling, but not explain why you need it to save you that 15 minutes you can get home early to see your daughter or your kids, right? That's more important to a business owner than knowing that this is a, a 19 chip in the iPhone 17 opposed to a 17 or 18 or whatever it might be on the new BIOS, right?
Yeah.
That makes no sense to a client. But if you tell them, hey, you'll be able to actually finalize your PowerPoint 15 minutes earlier. And if you're writing PowerPoints all day long, I've just saved you an hour in a day.
Yeah.
Right? That makes sense to them. And that's where I think the disconnect on the tech world, when I started learning about the marketing side of things. Then I ended up switching gears completely, started working in the corporate world, started doing retail sales in the computer and the audio video department at Circuit City. If anybody remembers that old company, which was amazing. I loved them. Wish they were still around. Yeah. It was where all the techies worked. If you were a techie in any way, shape, or form, whether video, audio, car audio, computers, you worked at Circuit City, and you could use that knowledge to help people, right? And hey, I made a buck too.
Yeah.
When it got to the point where it was just about the bottom dollar, how cheap can I get it? We lost that ability for somebody to explain to us why we need that product. So then it became a commodity. Hey, this computer is $999 instead of $2,000. Well, I'll get the cheaper one because I don't need the other one. Wait, you're putting this into a manufacturing plant that's going to be running all of your robotics. Yeah, the $1,000 model ain't going to hack it, right? This is what we lost, I think, in the 90s a little bit when it got commoditized on the computer systems. I did switch gears for a little bit. I ended up helping a couple of corporations. One was to start a distribution company in the AV world from ground up. We were one of the first in the Southwest to have a full website where you can order everything from the website. Again, unheard of in the late 90s, right? People were just like, wait, I can just go to Starbucks and order my product without having to go into your shop? Like, yeah, we'll have it ready for you. We'll ship it for you. Wow, that's cool. Now we
to put some perspective to that 98 was when Amazon started doing that. So this was right at the beginning, just to put some context.
This was right before Amazon. But Amazon wasn't even around yet. Here I was creating a website, and my boss just let me, he gave me the budget and said, do whatever you need to do. I'm like, cool. And, with a developer out of New York, we created a website that I could update instantly on pricing, because one of the biggest problems, and some people remember this, any sort of distribution company or inventory management company that sold product to either the public or through distribution, you would get a big, thick catalog once every 3 to 6 months.
Yep.
The second it went to print, it was outdated.
Yeah.
Right? That solved that issue for us. We ended up buying out like 3 or 4 other distributors in the Southwest, became one of the biggest. A lot of things changed in that world, and I left and decided to go into something that was completely unrelated. It was one of the few times I didn't go into tech. I actually became a commodities broker, selling oil, gold, coffee around the world. One of the biggest things I learned from that was the global supply chain. I had never realized how huge and how important it is to understand that. Well, that was perfect because, this was 2006, by the way. So it was only a 2-year stint, as you can imagine why. In 2008, the world kind of fell apart economically.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided to start with a friend, an IT consulting company, installing all low voltage products, security systems, AV, phone systems, fax machines, POS, you name it. And our thing was we could install all of it and make it all work together. Before this, you would hire a security guy. You would hire a phone guy. You would hire the IT guy. You would hire the AV guy. We were doing it all, installing it all, and then we'd make it all work as much as we could together. And so people were just calling us randomly. Hey, we heard that you just did this store in New York. Can you do our store in Chicago? Yeah, sure we can. So we were flying all over the world, just putting all these systems together. And that comes to the epiphany of what was changing. The ripple was happening. I'm sitting here project managing these big projects, 2 weeks to a month sometimes, and running it with a Motorola flip phone and a Samsung Note 1, the original one, right? And people are like, wow, why you got a tablet to your head? What is that? It's like, oh, it's my phone. But at this time, I was finagling it so I could actually use it to run my inventory, to make sure I can place my orders from my phone. So I was doing as much as I could from that device. I still had to use my laptop for a lot of stuff, right? But clients started asking me, Carlos, how do I access these systems you just installed from my BlackBerry, from my iPhone 3? And the answer was, you don't. I did not like that answer.
Yeah.
So I started looking for something. 2016, finally found a place that I could land because I couldn't find knowledge or education anywhere to learn about cellular. So I ended up working for Verizon on the B2B side. Took a little bit of a pay cut. Let me rephrase that. Took a little bit of a pay cut. But because I needed to be able to learn about cellular, I knew this was the only place I could. I mean, Verizon's still in the top 3. It was the top number 1 at the time. It's losing its sheen a little bit. And it was like, okay, this is going to teach me everything I need to know about B2B and cellular. How do I connect these two worlds that I've been living in the IT world with the cellular world? This is 2016 that I was thinking about this, and I ended up working in 2017. And I told my girlfriend at the time, I said, 3 to 5 years from now, I will be leaving Verizon, restarting mobile office strategist, or restarting strategic sales as a mobile-centric company. Mm-hmm. COVID happened.
Yeah.
I was like, here we go. Game on. September of 2020, me and Verizon were getting into it because of the fact that I wasn't selling phones for some reason. I can't, there was something going on in the world. And by November 1st, Mobile Office Strategist was born. At the time, I was doing a lot of research looking globally to see if anybody was doing what I was thinking of doing. There was one company that had opened a month prior to me in New Zealand. Okay. And they were doing something very similar. Let us help you manage your mobility. What's the strategy of using your software, your systems, integrations, making them all available on your phone? Unheard of at the time. Even today when I talk to people, like, so wait, what do? You sell phones? Sure, I can sell you a phone because I'm a Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile affiliate. But let's make it worth every penny. And so I tell folks, I turn your bill that you hate seeing every month into an asset instead of an expense. Because if you're running your business, you're able to do quotes, you're able to do your scheduling, able to do everything from anywhere, anytime. Do you care if you're spending $100 a line? No. Probably not. But if you're doing nothing but phone calls and email on your phone, you're over here trying to go, hey, I can get it on, these inexpensive MVNOs for $15 a line. Why don't I do that? Go for it. Don't be mad at me when you missed that one call that was worth $100 million deal.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so that's really the big trip from Commodore to today. But guess what? It's digital automation at its core. How do I move the data from that client that found you on Google, found you on your website, found you on TikTok? How do I move that into a sale at the end of the day that you invoice for? Well, let's do it all on your phone. And how's that for the short version?
I love it. It's great. It's great. And you hit a lot of really good points, but I kind of want to bring it home for especially entrepreneurs because most of our job is networking. I've been at a couple of events for the past couple of weeks. I've been traveling. And one of the things is, you never ask for a business card anymore because most people don't have them. It's like, here, scan my QR code. Here, do this. What would happen if I could, from my phone, say, hey, do you want me to check you out right here? Can we just do this? Let's do the sale right now. Or is there some other way I can gather this information, then put it into a system somewhere? Like there's a website called Link that will actually integrate with your CRM and do all kinds of backups for you. There's so much technology out there. Why would I just Why would I wait to do follow-up later when I can just do it right now and get them into a system and be done with it, right? Yeah. Really drive
I was in a
home.
networking event this morning, and we had a couple of visitors, and I scanned their cards, and automatically they get my card, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the gals, she was sitting in the back of the room. I hadn't seen her. I didn't have a chance to talk to her or anything, right? At the end of the meeting, she comes walking like beeline straight towards me. She goes, "I need to talk to you." I'm like, "Yeah, cool. Yeah, I got your card." She's like, "No. How did I get your information so fast?" It just popped up on my phone as a text, and it shows all your contact information. It shows, and it asked me if I want to save it. I said, "Yes, I want that." I said, "Oh, all I did was scan your card." She's like, "Wait, you just scanned my card and all of it came to me? You didn't type any of this?" I'm like, "No, I didn't type a dang thing." Right? This is what AI helps me do, is not only scan your card, put it into my CRM, put it in my texting program, put it in my email program, and last but not least, sent you a text that says, "Hey, let's connect." Mm-hmm. Took me all of 15 seconds. Yeah. If that. How many people go to a networking appointment and sit there with a box of cards that they throw that next card in, or they have it sitting on the edge of their desk? It's like, "Hey, I'm going to enter those in tomorrow."
And then tomorrow you get around going, "Who the hell was this again?" I've done that way more time than I wish to admit.
Remember what year it was. I think 2016 or 15 is when Calendly started. And I joined a national group of networking people in 2017, and to do appointments for one-to-one meetings. Mm-hmm. People were just like, "Well, just look at your calendar." And I have to say, and this is what, being a business owner, also as a solopreneur, you have to value your time, is setting those boundaries of like, "Hey, I don't have time to sit there and do the calendar tango."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go to my Calendly link, click on it. It'll find a time that works for you. I don't have to be involved. Yeah. And they're like, "Wait, but what? No, I need to know what day you're available." It's like, "I don't know. Just put it on my calendar." It took a while, right? That was 2017. Nowadays, I would say probably 75% of people have some sort of a calendar scheduling system. It's not out of the norm. Mm-hmm. But yeah, back in 2017, people had no idea what the hell I was doing.
Yeah. And for me, I have different links for different things. So if you want to get under a quick one-on-one, there's one link for it. If you want to get under this podcast, there's another link for it. And the automation behind the podcast is you get that link, you give me your bio, headshot, everything. There's a process behind it. It all just works, and it makes it so much easier. My team takes it on. There's things involved. But I also can say I only record podcasts on Tuesdays and Thursdays between these times, and I only want 2 podcast episodes in any one day, and it just handles all of that for me. I don't have to think about it. It's great. Yeah.
I get the question every once in a while of like, I tried to book a one-to-one with you, or I tried to book a software demo is another one that I do with a lot of vendors. And they'll call me or they'll text me and go, "Hey, I can't get on your calendar." I'm like, "What do you mean? It goes 90 days out." "Well, no, it shows nothing's available for like 2 or 3 weeks." I'm like, "Yeah, there's nothing available for 2 or 3 weeks because I only do one-to-one a day, tops, right? Yeah. And software demo is one every other day." Yeah. Right? Yeah. Because that's not a moneymaker for me. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a connection, but it's not an instant moneymaker. So I ask people this question when they ask me when I'm available. I said, "Dude, imagine if I took an hour out of your day and I told you to just sit down and do nothing. Would you do it?" "Well, no." I said, "Well, that's what you're asking me to do. I get it. It's a one-to-one. It's a network and it's a connection. But you're asking me to take an hour with this much zero pay, right? I will do that, but I value my time and I only give that up for certain times of the day." Yeah. If that time is already booked with a client, well, guess what? The client comes first. Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of solopreneurs forget that. They just like, "Oh, I'm going to do everything."
Yeah. Whereas boundaries are beautiful, and it's like time blocking, but done for you. Like that's what I've done. My time blocking is I do this and this, and that allows me to be able to get to be present during a podcast. Because if I do 5 podcasts a day, and I have done that, and that was a very poor decision on my part, Very poor decision on my part. You're burned out. I'm not able to show up as well.
Yes, I'm going to have to recommend you a website that I use. It's called reclaimai.ai. And it goes through and you can set the parameters kind of like you do with your calendar and say, hey, if I work 3 hours in a row, give me a break. If I work, and it automatically adds decompression time and focus time within your day.
Nice. That is a beautiful thing. What was the name of that site again?
Reclaim.ai.
We're going to give everyone a bit of a give back here to something to help reclaim your time. Because again, as chief everything officers, especially if you're first starting your business, it's hard. It's hard to get that. Time management is a large portion of what we do because we're always in a new direction. And knowing, I know I work really well in the morning, 2:00 in the afternoon, you are not getting hard thought out of me. That's when my brain shuts down. It's like, bro, I got to have a breather. And I don't have any say in this matter. It just happens, right? So, well, Carlos, it has been awesome talking to you today. Anyone wants to know more about Carlos, there is some links in the show description. But thank you so much for being on today. Really appreciate the wisdom you've dropped.
Yeah, no worries. And, I'm always here, especially now with the iPhone 17 dropping. I sell phones too, besides making them work and be worth every penny. I think we're up to $2,000 now on the new iPhone 17 Pro Max with 2 terabyte now. Woo! Love it.
Nice. Alrighty, man. You have a Thanks for tuning in to the Hustle and Grind podcast, where we unpack what it really takes to build something that matters. If today's conversation hit home, do me a favor. Share it with someone who's in the trenches too. And if you're building your own brand, platform, or message and want help turning that story into serious authority, head over to theauthorityforge.com to see how we can help. Until next time, keep showing up, keep shipping, and keep chasing the work that sets you on fire. I'm Andrew, and this was the Hustle and Grind podcast.